Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of You Don't Jazz No Berries. This time, I am the host, the Impact Player, and with me always is Miss Lady K. And here's a continuation of the previous episode to be continued. We have three new TV shows, and maybe at the end, we'll rank all six of the TV shows in order from least greatest to, all right, we need this back right now. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it.
So the first show that I want to talk about today, which is going to be my second show in the lineup that we've already discussed one in the previous segment, but it's going to be the show Welcome to Eden. So I know that we watched this show together and the show was really good. There's a couple different cast members. I'm just going to name a few. Lola Rodriguez, Amaya Aberasturi. I know I'm probably saying that wrong. And Belinda, but I don't know what her last name was. So those are just a couple. Amaya is one of the main characters in the show. And I think that she also played in the Sisters of the Coven or some show like that. But the show itself is, I don't want to give too many details, but it's about basically a group of people going to an island to go party and drink this new energy drink that they come out with. But then everything just changes. So what they think is just a fun party becomes basically a living hell. And so you guys need to watch it. If you guys, well, you don't have to watch it, but I think everybody should watch it so they can see what I'm talking about. And really, honestly, I think just not knowing what was going to happen during the show, like it kind of left you on the edge of your seat. You wanted to see what was going to happen in the next episode. Me personally, was waiting for like the new episodes to come out so we could see what was going to happen. And then I know that it got canceled. It was actually just last year, or actually no, it was this year in 2023. It was reported that the show had been officially canceled. And the outlet cited viewing stats for the reason that the series was canceled. Although it looks like in the first season, they actually had over 140 million views on it. So I don't know. I would assume that the second season would follow suit because that's usually how it is. Maybe they didn't get as many views on the second season, but you can't tell me it wasn't enough to keep the series going at least. What do you think?
Well, Welcome to Eden was, I think it was a good show. Matter of fact, if I could recall it correctly, I'll put you on. Shout out to Spain. You know what I'm saying? Because I do believe this was from España. You know what I'm saying? And I never knew they could boogie like this. You know what I'm saying? But I must admit, this is one of the perks of Netflix because Netflix, they show you, not only American, we'll say brand B series and, short films and stuff like that. But they give you a large piece of the spectrum. So you got stuff from Europe, Spain, England, of course, them little countries like Romania and stuff like that, Lithuania. And then, they got some Asian productions, primarily Korea, excuse me, Korea and stuff like that. And then, of course, South America, which I didn't even know South America was boogieing like that. And then, of course, Africa. We can't forget about Africa. There's a couple African shows or whatnot that's up there. And, I really appreciate all of them. But, Welcome to Eden, it's a Spanish production and stuff like that. So shout out to Spain once again. And also, I felt like, honestly, it's like Empire or whatever. So the drama don't start until, the leaders of the island or whatever starts the drama. But I must admit, unlike other shows, including Empire, these were like real problems that, if me or you were running a whole island, we would probably run into the same problems as well too. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the interesting aspects of the show. It's like okay, so how are they gonna solve this problem? How are they gonna keep the island going? How are they gonna keep the new recruits and the lower level people, how are they gonna keep them in line when they 5-star recruits are turning up and acting a fool and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of keep you, interested in their problems and how they're able to solve the problems and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good little watch.
Yeah, I feel like of all of the shows, like I said in the last episode or last segment, that I really wanted them to bring back Happy, but I really want them to bring this one back just because I'm still sitting on the edge of my seat wanting to know what was going to happen. Like the way it ended, like I said, not going to spoil it for you, you guys need to watch it, but the way that it ended, it really ended where I'm still questioning what's going on. So whether if Netflix is listening right now and Netflix wants to pick it back up, I wouldn't be sad. But if not, maybe there's another channel or another station, whatever you want to call them, that can pick this back up and start where they left off because it really is a good show and you guys should go watch it.
Okay, the next show we're gonna talk about is excuse me, everybody. But the next show we're gonna talk about is actually a most recent piece that we watched and stuff. So it's called Heels. Okay. Man, I tell you what. Okay, so a little bit about myself, ladies and gentlemen, is I used to be on a wrestling team. Pretty sure you know that. I wrestled for 4 years. But 2 of them years it was like half a season, so we'll say about 3 years. So as far as like the wrestling world is concerned and stuff like that, and this is like the world of amateur wrestling, even though amateur wrestling has reached as far as the Olympics and stuff like that. But how you could turn pro from amateur wrestling is actually with the WWE. I ain't gonna lie, I had WWE ambitions, but the injury bug, man, you want to talk about a bug that traveled from me from place to place. It was probably the injury bug, you know. So of course, when they show stuff like this, it piques my interest and stuff like that, And of course, I was like, okay, what do we got? What do we have here? And of course, I think this is a really good watch, Hopefully, you guys out there, y'all feel the same way. So let's go ahead and rap about it. Okay, so Heels, it's actually about a underground wrestling league. It's not as popular as the WWE and them, and also it's not really a regional showcase like some of these leagues out here. Meaning, like, okay, not only are you broadcasting your home state, but in your region, like let's say I'm from North Carolina, so it's not broadcasting the southeastern region or whatever. Or like if you're from Texas, it's not broadcasting in the South Central region, or the West Coast is not broadcasting the West Coast. Their broadcast was actually in their home state, which they're from Georgia. Not to spoil everything, but they from Georgia, and their leading competitors was from Florida, and their leading competitors actually was in the regional level as opposed to it was just still in the local level. And we're just following this local gig and seeing if it can make regional status. You feel me? And there's a cast of characters and stuff like that. But there's 2 characters that stands out, and they're basically the Spade brothers, Jack Spade and Ace Spade, and Jack Spade, he's the older brother, and he inherited the local gig from his father, and he's running the show. And something that's very special about the main character of the show is that he played in Arrow, okay? And his name is Stephen Amell. And I haven't per se watched Arrow, but I heard good things about it because while folks was watching Arrow, I was actually watching Flash. So that's why I don't really know too much about it. But I did hear good things about the Arrow, you know what I'm saying? And then, of course, they have Kelly Berglund, Allison Luft, and the actual co-star, even though we could say he's, the main character or whatever. His name is Alexander Ludwig, and Ludwig, excuse me. If anybody's as old as I am, they played Super Mario World on the SNES, you know what I'm saying? And Ludwig is actually one of Bowser's son, which I know, right? Which the whole thing about that is, you play any of the Mario games now, we're kind of wondering what happened to the plethora of Bowser's son. Why don't we have baby Bowser when, if you ever played that game, they had Ludwig and the whole nine and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, but those are the cast members for Heels. And I tell you, bro, I feel like it's a good watch because it does a great job showcasing what happens behind the scenes. So going back to WWE and not to spoil what they got going on. Okay, so the WWE, if anybody ever watched Autobiography, especially when we were kids and stuff like that. Okay, so stuff was pre-taped and pre-recorded until WCW had a live gig. Okay, so basically the promoter or whatever, or the manager or whatever, he would just tell you to finish a maneuver and tell you how the match would end, and the wrestlers would have to come and fill in the blanks. Okay, but the show Heels, okay, the main character played by Stephen Amell, which is Jack Spade, he's actually working a part-time job, not to spoil too much, and he's also scripting what goes on in the wrestling ring. And I tell you what, the only thing that I have discrepancies with this show is, okay, I know Buddy is not going to sleep, you know what I'm saying? Because not only do he got a 9 to 5, he got a whole family, and then he's scripting, what goes on in the WWE, so to speak. Bro, he probably had no sleep whatsoever. But of course, it's a TV show, so of course he maintained a good balance, which I tip my hat, even though quote unquote it's a movie or whatever. I still tip my hat to that because you juggling 3 to 4 items at a time, and I'm pretty sure for any man, any woman, any person in this world, that'd probably be a hard thing to do. Not only script this, and you ain't really getting paid from this, but you scripting this and you trying to keep people interested in this. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty good. So now to get down to the nitty gritty of it all. Okay, so of course they have 2 seasons of Heels, and it was canceled after the 2nd season. So according to IGN, which this is where I get my gaming news as well too, but according to IGN, it says the Wrap first broke the news of the cancellation. A source tells IGN that while the network was fond of blind spotting, running the world, and Heels creatively, they could not find a large enough audience to justify continuing it, although they hope to work with the producers on the show and other projects in the future, which does nothing for me. All right, let's be honest. Like like I told you in earlier, okay, this is probably gonna be the theme of this segment and stuff like that, which is okay. These shows are running into people not having a sufficient audience in order for them to continue, which I find this very, very hard to believe. We got like billions of people in the world, and then we have the technology to do voiceovers and stuff like that. You mean to tell me that folks across the world is not watching this, especially when they are kind of getting a first-hand glimpse of what goes on in the back scene? You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. Like, not to spoil it, which I'm not, but some of the issues that go on in this show, I mean, you see it all the time with WWE. I mean, you could read about it right now. Some of the issues that, you know, the TV show Heels was facing, and you could basically, you know, go on your Google or your MSN search bar or whatever the case may be and search, and you could find most of the problems, if not all of the problems that the WWE is facing, that Duffy and them boys was facing as well too. You know what I'm saying? Which, to say that they don't have enough audience member, come on, bro. And you know, shout out to Stars as well too, because this was a Stars original series and stuff like that. I think when Stars when they start streaming and stuff like that, these are one of the shows that once you put in your subscription and stuff like that, you can go ahead and stream the Stars original series Heels. Like, okay, all I do is stream, so I don't really know if Stars, the TV show, the TV channel, has Heels, you know, on their channel or whatever, you know. And of course, TV's moving to streaming anyway, so you know, how would I know? But I know enough to know that Stars, this is a original series and stuff like that, and it was such a good cut. So enough of me running my mouth. Let's go ahead and hear what you have to say about it.
Well, to be honest, at first when you introduced it to me, I was like, "Oh, a wrestling show, so exciting!" Because like I'm not really like that big into sports. I mean, I'll watch football and basketball a little bit just because you know stuff you like. So I kind of just like, okay, whatever, you know, we'll watch that. But wrestling, I was just like, okay, well, most of that stuff's fake, so why would I want to watch it? And watching it, it really had a very good storyline. So it wasn't just like about just wrestling, but it had like a little bit of love and, you know, drama, stuff like that. Stuff that I know other females especially like. So I think actually this might be a show that would, you know, like a female might see it and be like, I'm not going to watch that. But like because of you, I ended up watching it with you. And I think that if they just knew that it actually is a very good storyline, maybe they might go and watch it. And I do think that the way that it ended, which like I said, not going to spoil that for you guys, but I think the way that it ended, like it could have definitely continued into a more in-depth story, especially with Jack. But that's just what I think anyways.
Yeah, and what about Jack's younger brother on this TV show, Ace Spade? You know, how it ended. Oh my God, it's so hard not to spoil it for the fans and stuff like that that's tuning into us and stuff. You know, but man, I tell you what, it left off on such a big cliffhanger. You know, compare what Eden left off on to this one. I don't know what's bigger. I'm leaning towards Eden. I'll give you that. I'm leaning towards Eden because of how Eden ended. I almost messed up and gave away everything, but I'm leaning towards Eden. But at the same time, I mean, you can't just neglect what happened to the Spade brothers at the end of their ordeal. You know, it was, oh man. So, I mean, that's also the theme as well too. Like every show that we mentioned thus far got a huge cliffhanger, if not the cliffhanger, you know. So, oh yeah, also shout out to James Harrison too. Gotta show my man some love. Ex football player, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was just, man, it's just phenomenal how they told the story on that. Like I could vibe with that because even in the workplace, like let's say you work in fast food or you work in industrial or you working in the office and stuff like that. There's so much that goes on behind the scene before the customer get their product that I felt like Heels did a really good job explaining everything darn there that goes on behind the scenes, especially in WWE, before the customer get actually officially gets their product. You know what I'm saying? So that's my pick.
So the last show I want to talk about today, so it would be my third show technically in the lineup, or second show that I'm talking about today, is actually a TV show called Snowpiercer. So I don't know if you actually saw this one, but Snowpiercer was really a show set in future times, basically. And the Snowpiercer is the actual train that the people are on. I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's like a futuristic end of the world, basically. And we see different classes. So you have your rich, middle class, and then poor class. And so it just goes along their life of living on the train, basically. And that's not really going to sum it up because there's so much more to it. There's a very big storyline and a lot of stuff that happens during the show. And the way that it ended for me was very sad, but I'll get into that here in a minute because it was actually a show that TNT had. And it looks like some of the cast here would be Daveed Diggs, and I thought maybe he was related to Tay Diggs, but he's not. And then Jennifer Connelly, Sean Bean. Those are just a couple. I'm not going to go through all of them. But my favorite character, and one of the main characters, is actually Daveed Diggs. And I didn't even know this, but I just found out that he actually was just on the new Little Mermaid. He was the voice, I believe, of one of the lions. I can't remember which one for sure. But he's a very good actor, so I would recommend watching it just because of him, honestly. But the whole show is really good. The reason it was canceled, it actually had 3 seasons that aired. 4th season they were going to have on TNT, and then they actually filmed the whole 4th season and then canceled it. So that never even aired, which for me kind of made me feel bad for the actors and actresses that put all their hard work into portraying those characters just for it to end with not even really a good reason. It just said it's a difficult decision, but our administration for the talented writers, actors, and crew who brought Snowpiercer's extraordinary post-apocalyptic world to life remains strong. So why doesn't really make any sense to me, but I'll let you guys be the judge of that. You guys should go watch it, though. What do you guys think? Or what do you think?
Well, I haven't seen this piece myself, but I think I've seen bits and pieces of the movie that Snowpiercer, the series, was after. I believe, what's his name? Jake Gyllenhaal, the actor turned UFC fighter. I think he was in the movie or whatnot. And one scene, not to spoil it for everybody, but one scene I do remember that stood out in my mind is they was on the rooftop and they was getting chased by wolves. Somebody leave me a comment if I have this correct or whatever. But as far as like the movie concerned and stuff like that, I think the movie was actually a good watch. Even though I haven't seen the whole movie in its entirety. I was just in the outs and ins and stuff like that. So I didn't, and with that being said, if they did a spin off of the show, well, I ain't gonna watch it now since it's canceled. But if they would have kept it going and kind of finished it up for us, I'd probably give it a watch. It sounds pretty good. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think other than what I've already said, I never actually did get to see that movie. So that kind of actually makes me want to go back and watch that. And I do know there were talks that they were going to try to get other TV channel to pick it up, season 4, and air it because it's already filmed. But unfortunately, that has not happened, and I don't think it will. I hope it does. So if anybody's hearing me out there, go watch it. Maybe we can boost those numbers and get people to get the numbers up for those watch hours, and then we can get that season out there. But it is on Netflix if you want to see it.
All right, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That completes the 2-part series. Let us know in the comments if you want us to talk about more shows that, maybe we all have watched at one point in time that they canceled, and that we should make enough noise to go ahead and run that back. Like we said, to be continued. So hopefully the 6 shows that we talked about, maybe some of the networks like the Dub C, come on Dub C, but maybe some of the networks will hopefully pick them up and complete their stories. But until then, these are 6 unfinished stories that need to be continued. With that being said, I am the host, the Impact Player, and always with me is Miss Lady K. And until next time, peace.